Now, what is extraordinary about the pyramids of Giza is that they did not have the dolomite and hornfels stones. So what did the Kushites did? They invented cement with similar chemical structures as the dolomites and the hornfels at Adam's calendar. So these inventions, these cement blocks the Kushites invented to build the pyramids at Giza had iron oxides, had concentration of sodium from the ore called scorodite, made from potassium, iron, calcium, alkaline, magnesium, and aluminum. So these are some of the chemistry that the Kushites brought to the pyramids of Giza about 5,000 years ago. 5,000 years ago. They were able to bind limestone with silicon dioxide, the building block of quartz, a calcium and magnesium rich type of silicate material. You can see the Kushites were not only chemists and physicists, they invented nanotechnologies of electrostatic and electromagnetic nature in their temples, in their funerary chapels, pyramids, their megalith monuments, edifices, as part of their divinity and spirituality. They were using the electromagnetic force from these stars, and they were using the electromagnetic force from the Earth's core to communicate with their God. And this is how spiritual and divine the Kushites were, that they embark upon the elaborate study of the natural world, the universal world, which include the Orient system and other constellations. The Napatan and Meroe pyramids were made from certain added geopolymer alkaline feldspars of aluminum tectosilicate materials containing sodium, calcium, potassium, barium. And the Kushites selected from hundreds of different type of stones or materials. They selected granite and sandstone that they used to build most of the pyramids in Napata and Meroe. Now, what is key about the chemical structures of sandstone, and especially granite, is the veins of thorium and uranium, potassium, calcium, iron, sodium that are known to be in these stones. And these are what they used to build their temples, pyramids, for their divine worship and in honor of their supreme god, Amun. At Napata, though, the Kushites enhanced their inventions in physics and chemistry by using these sandstones and these granite to build more pyramids, their monolith monuments. Sandstones, and especially granite, again, are known to modern geological and earth science, as well as modern chemistry, to have these veins of uranium and thorium. What is so important about thorium and uranium, I think you all can guess. These are two of the most powerful chemicals in the entire universe and Earth. And what could be more electromagnetic? What could have more electrostatic nature? But especially the electromagnetic nature of these stones, the energy that they can absorb from the earth and from the universe. So you see, the Kushites were using the force from the earth, the core of the earth, and they were also harnessing the electromagnetic force from the universe, from the star system, the constellations, especially the Orion constellation. And in that heaven, up there, that's where the Kushite believe their supreme god, Amun, that they worship and honor, live. All these monuments, edifices, the pyramids, their temples were built in honor of their supreme god. Now, thorium and uranium, as you all probably guess, or leftovers from past supernova activity, dying stars that exploded. So that's some of the residue, uranium, thorium, and this is being mentioned because the Betelgeuse star in the Orion system, the Kushite had been observing that star as well, and probably wondering if it was a dying star that would imminently unleash hell on Earth. The question is, were the Kushite thinking that the Betelgeuse star, if it exploded, if it became a supernova, would that be a representation of hell, as they think of their supreme God as living in the heaven as well? That is something to be looked into in the future as to what the Kushites actually thought. At Napata, at the mountain of God, renamed by the Arabs to Jebel Barkal, what coalesced from Adam's calendar, from Naphtali, from Egypt, or from the pyramids of Giza, from the Great Sphinx, what we have at Napata was the culmination of African culture, Kushite culture, Egyptian culture. So Napata was the emergence of a culture of royals, the emergence of a culture of royals. The Napata complex had 15 temples with chapels and 3 massive palaces, and nearby the necropolis of dozens of beautiful, elegant pyramids built by the Kushites. Napata was the holy, sacred place of the Kushites and the Egyptians. And at Napata, kings and pharaohs were crowned. So let's recap. Adam's calendar, 75,000 years ago. Naphtali, 10,000 years ago. The Pyramid of Giza, about 5,000 years ago. The Great Sphinx, about 12,000 years ago. Cusco, where kingship, royalty, and pharaoh culture was discovered, in Nubia, about 7,000 years ago. Tesseti Empire, between 15,000 and 5,000 years ago, with their capital at Kerma. And then, of course, there is Kush. Kush, or the Kushites, grew out of the Tesseti Empire and created the Kushite Empire, which included Egypt. So Napata, before it was destroyed by the Romans, was the holy sacred place, the holy coalescence of culture and religion, and the great God, supreme God, that revealed himself to the Africans at Adam's calendar over 75,000 years ago. At Napata, what we found there was divine kingship, divine worship, a divine priesthood, a divine pharaohship, dynastic rule, the pillars of moral ethics. The pillars of moral ethics can be described another way, and that is the Kushites, the culture of royals, from Cusco to Tesseti, to Kush, to Egypt. And yes, they were destroyed. They were ultimately destroyed. The culture was destroyed. Their buildings and temples were destroyed. Their royal monuments and edifices were destroyed. That you can conquer royals, but not their royalty. Royalty is the God-based spirituality dignified by moral ethics. Unfortunately, that's what the world lacks today.
I am Usia, also called Osiris. I am the Tarseti lord of the underworld, judge of the dead and resurrection, brother to Seth, husband to Ist, and father to Heru. We, as a family dynasty of Tarseti, were entrusted with bringing sacred divinity and spirituality to the world.